Señoras y señores, lovely film, God, bad boys and girls. How are ya? I hope you're all doing well. I hope the pencils are coming in thick and fast, being followed very closely by lots of confirmations on amazing projects that make you feel happy about what you've done. And you send your invoice in and you can pay your mortgage and your rent and all the bills. Come on. So I guess firstly, just a massive shout out to all of you film crew that have got kids, because it's summer holidays. And if you don't have kids, enjoy it. Enjoy it, because once they come, they are beautiful blessings. But the logistics of summer holidays and two working parents, you know, you gotta write a schedule for that shit. Split, right? Who's having the morning? What do we need to do? Where are they going to go? Is it a holiday camp? Or are they not? Can we see friends? Can we not? Who can? But today is a day off, so I've made them a cheeky little sandwich and some fruit and veg and all of those beautiful things. Stuck them in front of the telly to watch a bit of TV, so I can come up here and record this intro, because I really want to be getting this episode out, as our guest was the DOP on the new Disney docudrama, don't know, whatever they call it, that is called Pompeii Out of Time, which I was very fortunate to also be the first AD on the documentary side of life. So we had a Mr. Tom Hiddleston, who was finding out some interesting stories about Pompeii. And I'm not gonna, there's no spoilers. Look, you know, the only major spoiler that I'm going to give you is that Vesuvius erupts. And if you didn't know that, then it doesn't matter anyway. And so we were in Pompeii end of last year, shooting down in Naples, in the Bay of Naples, in Pompeii, in Herculaneum, in one of the museums in the centre of town. And it was there was such beautiful moments to be part of, some of which you talk about in the app. And I guess it's very rare for someone like myself in commercials to actually be able to kind of talk about something that they've done that people are going to watch, that can be critiqued or enjoyed as a family. Because most of the time you shoot your ad, it goes out, some people see it, some people don't, some just skip ads, some pay for no ads. So I've never got on the family WhatsApp group and been like, oh my god, just did this new fish finger commercial, you gotta watch it. But there should be. And so this is one of the projects, that kind of handful of projects that are long form that I've been very fortunate to be part of, that I'm just really proud to have been part of. So please, to give us a chance of getting a second series, go out, go to Disney, tell your friends, watch it. Pompeii Out of Time. It's genuinely a phenomenal piece of work. And I'm not, people go, I'm not just saying that because I was, no, I was very fortunate to watch the first two eps at the premiere at the British Museum, and I watched the first step with my wife yesterday on the sofa, and there were tears when there were supposed to be tears, there was laughter when there was supposed to be laughter, and there's some really interesting facts. And as she said, whilst we were watching it, sometimes you watch documentaries and you kind of want to try and picture what it was like, and now you don't need to picture. With this new style, with this new format that Tom Barbor-Might, the director, along with Tom Hiddleston and some others, have kind of created. Don't need to imagine it. It's there, in your face, on your screen, feeling it. And there's some brilliant actors from the drama side. So I kind of feel like I've waxed on lyrical about that. Summer is here, the weather's up, the weather's out, the sun has got his hat on. Hooray! Yeah, the sun has got his hat on. And I think it's coming out to play. So, short intro, standard turned into a fairly long ramble, but I'm going to leave you with the normal. I love you guys. I thank you all for listening. I didn't say it. If this is your first time, my name is Isusco Garcia, El Vasco. Third generation Espanol. And I just want these episodes to be fun to listen to, as if you're just hearing two people chat at a pub. Which is actually, shout out to Rich O'Neill, who actually said sometimes I just listen to it and it's like listening to two mates in a pub, but I can't say anything. I'm just there listening. I kind of want to jump in, but I can't. But that's the vibe. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to love it, and keep sharing it. Like and subscribe and follow and all that kind of stuff. We are at Film Gods Podcast on Insta. On the TikTok, it's the Time Scheduler, so it's my work TikTok. And then we throw out the YouTube videos, and it's all slowly building, which is organic and lovely. But keep dropping messages, keep dropping likes and shares, and most evenings, once the kids are in bed, whilst the kettle's boiling, before we kind of sit down to watch something, I'll always check in, see the messages, and I want to reply to everyone. So just really appreciate all the love. Thank you so much for giving me your, I was going to say earballs, because I was looking at myself on the Zoom, and I looked at my eyes, and I saw eyes, and I was like, I wonder if I can make a new word called earballs, but I can't. So thank you for giving me your eardrums and your eyeballs. I love you. Let's get straight into the app.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So, ladies and gentlemen, señoras y señores of the Film God family, today's guest is a legend who I've known since I first started. You always know you're going to get some really nice fucking stuff, but you're also going to have some fun wherever you are, in a jungle, up a mountain, on a boat. And it's a real privilege to have him on, to hear his stories, to hear his experience. And thank you so much for coming on, brother. So what is your name and what is your role on the call sheet?
My name is Jim Jolliffe, and I am a director of photography.
So I guess getting straight into why camera department, and then was it always the idea to be a DP, or did you think, do you know what, I might just stay as a focus puller forever?
I kind of always wanted to be a sort of a DOP, but yeah, I was really lucky. I knew since I was really young. I mean, I watched Star Wars. Obviously, fell in love with it as a tiny kid, and as the years of watching it over and over again, I was like, "That's it, special effects." I want to do special effects, spaceships, explosions, all that kind of stuff. I want to do special effects in films. I think I saw some behind the scenes thing with ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, who did all the special effects for Star Wars. And I was like, that's it, that's the job. And then I was into photography as a teenager. My sister started going out with a guy who worked for a transport company called Lift and Shoot. And this is years ago. I was probably 12 or 13 at the time. And he was working Lift and Shoot, which I thought was really cool. One of the vans they had looked like the 18 van. He then went off and he then started working the clapper loader. And I was like, that's it, camera department. That's what I want to do, because that is a really fucking cool job. And I got really into photography, and I thought, actually, DOP is kind of. And as a teenager, I knew I wanted to do that. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, Star Wars seems to be one of those films that a lot of people go, I watched it and I was hooked. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna put my hands up here because it's been so not rammed down our throats, but because it's like, oh, Star Wars, Star Wars. I've kind of made a thing. I've never seen it. I've never,
yeah.
like, every time it's been on at Christmas, I'm like, no, I'm not watching it. I don't,
It's,
but I don't know
it,
whether I should just do it because it is such an absolute epic film.
I mean, it's quite a few people who have not seen it actually, but it's. I kind of feel like, say, Ram Daniels. I kind of feel now with all the since it got bought by Disney, I think it's just so many. I can't. When the series started coming out, I was like, yeah, there's this Mandalorian series, and now it's just too much. All the films as well, they're too much, and I've completely lost track of the timeline and I've lost track of the paths and the characters, and it kind of killed it because it's too much. And same with
Mm,
the Marvel things, they just when you get too much, it's just you can't keep up with it.
yeah.
So I've kind of yeah, it was original three for me that made me fall in love with that aspect of it, the sort of doing kind of visual, sort of in camera visual effects.
Mm,
And ILM, what they did were just incredible. They did all the films back then, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Goonies, all the films that had crazy
classics.
kind of, yeah, you know, building little models and blowing things up and, you know, glass plates for scenic shots and stuff. Yeah,
So the magic of filmmaking got you in, and then was it
yeah.
always was the dream to, or was the idea to just shoot anything, or was it like I really want to be I want to make motion movies, I want to make massive pictures, or I want to like what was the process in? Because obviously lift and shoot for me being in commercials, they were like the bog standards. Everyone, it was just always lift and shoot in commercials, commercials,
Yeah,
commercials,
I mean, I think they
commercials.
are just. I think they are just commercials. Yeah, but it's more the fact that he went on separately and became a camera assistant and did films. But it for me, uh, my kind of in to get into the industry was via commercials. So I kind of went into commercials just because those were the sort of contacts I had that I could get in. Um, oh, kingfisher flying past. Uh,
Have you still got that app that shows you what flowers and like,
yeah, I'm
yeah, yeah,
quite
I
into
love it.
that. I use it daily, and the best is the Merlin app for tells you bird sounds because you can sit in the garden and just listen to. Let's flying back the other way now. Uh, yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah. So my ins were in commercials, so that's the way I naturally went. I kind of with my career, I kind of just went with the flow. I wasn't that
Mm.
ambitious. I wasn't, pushy, or I just knew what I wanted to do and let it take me where it
Let the
took me, kind of thing.
universe just dictate who you
Yeah,
got,
exactly.
and I guess that kind of ability to just you knew what the department was, and you knew where the end goal was, and then it was just about enjoying the journey through it. So was it like
Yeah, which
straight
I
in as
loved.
camera assistant, or did you
No,
do lift and shoot
I
and all that stuff?
no, I didn't do. I tried getting a job at Lift and Shoot when I was about 19, and I had 9 points on my license as a 19-year-old, and B,
That must be a
I think you had,
record.
I think you had to be over 21 for insurance reasons as well. But so basically, Colin, who ran Lift and Shoot, just straight away was like, I'd love to, but no. Um, so yeah, I worked as a runner for years in commercials, and then I managed to get on a film when I was quite young, again about 17, called The Commitments, an Alan Parker movie.
Oh
Um,
wow, that's a
so that was
great
good
movie.
as camera. Great movie to work on. So
What were
that
you
has
doing? Did you film all around? Was it like a UK thing?
no, it was all shot in Dublin.
Oh,
All
okay.
locations. Well, all the bits I did were locations. I think they might have done a little bit of studio, but I didn't. I did like a big chunk of the film, but unions were stronger then. So me being an Englishman going on an Irish set was I had to kind of hide sometimes if the
How
union
can you hide?
reps came
You're
round.
like 6 foot fucking eight. How are you hiding, brother?
Well, at least that's what they told me. Just if they wanted to get rid of me, just said, go no, under the cupboard over there.
Oh my god! And what the cult? That must have been. Did everyone know that it was going to be a bit of a cult classic?
I mean, it was directed by Alan Parker, who all of his films are pretty cult.
Mm.
So I guess In some respect, maybe yes, but I think everyone realised it was going to be something different because most of the actors weren't actors. They were played in band, or the casting was all finding people in bands who played around Dublin. There were a couple of actors in it, but not many. So it was different. It was a very different, and it was just well written. It was, Woody Dill wrote the book, and it's just a great story.
Guess that's the thing. If you've got a great story,
it's fun to work on because on Rap, there's always going to be one. There was always one member of the cast who were playing in some gig in some pub in Dublin somewhere, so people would all go down to see whoever play. Yeah, it's good fun to work on, and I didn't get paid. I was sleeping on the floor in the production office.
Wow.
But yeah,
good experience though.
Yeah.
And then after that, then comes more films, or do you just? It sounds like you're so chilled. It was like whatever happens.
I was kind of doing commercials. As a runner, I didn't do. I did a film called Snow White: A Tale of Terror as a runner, some Sigourney Weaver, Sam Neill movie in Prague, but mainly commercials. And then moved up to loader, and then focused for operator, sort of on the DOP eventually. But over the course of like 20 years, moving up through the ranks, I guess, about 20 years probably.
And now instead of sleeping on floors, you're sleeping on pods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, like the kind of the journey in and the journey through to where you are. I guess surrounding yourself with people that are great at what they do, but also have an ability to. And it's not disrespectful to say not take it too seriously because they're so good at what they do, but there's just this calmness with your team. It's just so nice to see that everyone's on point, no one's stressing, but that there's going to be those little moments where someone can just do something, say something, just to calm everything down, just to ease that pressure. Is that an important part of having people around you that can just...
Yeah, massively. Yeah. I mean, you're working as a team on a film set, and you've got to be likable, and your team have got to be likable, and you don't want to have a member of your team who's winding production up because they're insisting on whatever, or they're just being a bit of a prick. And so it's important for me to have the crew that I'm responsible for to be very good at their job, obviously, but also equally as nice, and just get on with everyone and get on with production, and make everyone's working really hard, and to make everyone's, make it as easy for everyone as possible, really.
Yeah. So I guess moving into the show that we did together, end of 25, end of last year.
Yeah.
So
I did a chunk of it over the summer as well.
Oh, because you were in the Malta section as well. So just for the viewers, for the listeners, unless you're not watching on YouTube, for the listeners, Jim and myself were part of a Disney Nat Geo project out in Pompeii. It's releasing this Thursday, so recording Tuesday 21st. It's releasing on the Thursday, so this will come out a few days after it. So if you're listening to it, go watch it. Disney
really
Plus, go watch it. But on a project like that, and I don't want to have any spoilers in case anyone hasn't watched it, but the basic premise is that it's part drama, part documentary, but actually the documentary element of it, it's as if at times Tom Hiddleston, who's the documentary voice face side of it, documentarian. Yeah. He's kind of seeing that part of the drama, and I said to Tom, director, on the premiere, I was like, it kind of feels like its own genre, like it potentially could have its own. It's not, most documentaries have an element of drama and they just cut to it, but this kind of feels like it could actually now just go and spawn an entire new genre. How'd you get in, and then two, just that process of figuring out what you're going to do for both of them, and just what part of the brain is needed for the drama compared to the doco side of life. So what was your process in getting to that first shoot day?
Well, I've worked with Tom Barbor-Might, the director and showrunner on quite a few projects before, and I've worked for him for like 15 years in commercials as well,
Mm.
as have you. And have you? I'm sure you have. Yeah, you do a
Yeah,
lot of commercials with them,
done a
don't you?
few bits with him, but not
Yeah.
that many. No.
And himself, the writer, and Kevin R. Wright, who's one of the executive producers, but on the creative side, all kind of came up with this idea of the two timelines: Tom Hiddleston in the present and AD 79. When it's not a spoiler, that Vesuvius
Yeah,
eruption goes Pompeii.
There was a volcano. That's not spoiler. Yeah.
That's like my dad when Titanic came out. He said, "I'm not going to go see that film. I know the ending."
Ship
Valid
sinks.
point.
Yeah.
But so it was there. They came up with really clever techniques to kind of blend the two timelines, and so Tom Hiddleston kind of is so connected, sort of visually and mentally, and in the story to the past and the present, and essentially the past is his imagination, really. So what we're seeing happening in Pompeii is what Tom's believing thinking what it's like. Me and Tom Barbor-Might sat down in pre-production and just working out ideas and ways of bonding those two worlds, basically. And we just trying to, it's match cuts, things like that are really obvious, but then we wanted the look to feel the same, and so the look we gave Pompeii pre-eruption, I carried on into the documentary side, and using same lenses, same kind of grade, so things like that. And then there's loads of little other elements where Tom Hiddleston's, I don't want to give too much away, but he is in Pompeii, and he's cut. He's a section where a boy's searching for his mother, and Tom Hiddleston is out in Pompeii at night with his iPhone, wandering the streets of trying to, as if he's there. And then we've cut that with the boy looking for his mother, but I lit the whole scene with the boy looking for his mother with the torch of an iPhone. What? To give it this so you kind of feel, and it really works. It's very simple, but yeah.
But I guess that sometimes that simplicity can really help, because lighting a film is so important. But when you're talking about making a show about AD 79, there are no flurry tubes. There are no lamps that you can just stick in the back of shot that you can. So that kind of idea of everything looks like it's lit with practicals in shot, a candle, a fire, something, and then obviously an iPhone that they had in AD 79. But was that part of your process? Just thinking, how can I do this as simple as possible?
100%. I mean, the way I like generally anyway is I kind of try and keep things as simple as possible. I'm not one of these people that overlights everything, and I just try and do it as beautifully and simply as possible. I kind of, so that's kind of, I could go off on that for ages, but that.
Go on a little tangent.
No, not really. Well, that's kind of how I sort of, the majority of the work I get is that sort of cinematic documentary kind of look, where it's quite humanistic. It's like from a human eye. You feel like you're there. You feel it's engaging the emotion between the camera and the scene, and really feeling like you're part of it. It's something that I kind of feel that's where I get most of my work, is that thing of just engagement with in a very simple kind of way. I do get other jobs that are big lit scenes in studios and stuff. But,
6 trucks of fucking sky panels, and then soft boxes. But
which I like doing occasionally. But going back to Pompeii, it was a budget. The budget wasn't great. It was a big drama shoot on that, and the budget was essentially a documentary budget. So it was doing things, which I love. I love a challenge like that. You know, if you haven't got much money and it takes you back to your student days or doing pop promos or something, you haven't got much cash. It's how can we make this work? And that's sometimes when you have to be the most creative and come up with the most interesting sort of techniques. But so I had to do things really simply. And then, like you said, I just thought to myself, well, in Pompeii, they just had lamps. They used olive oil in lamps then, so they had olive oil lamps and things like that, and didn't have anything else, you know. So how can I sculpt the light and make it look beautiful with just the most simplest equipment? And that's kind of what we did. So everything was lit. Is very simple. We went LED on everything, which is the first time I've done a big project where everything's LED, which meant that our biggest light was a 5K. But the day scenes, we didn't really use lights. You know,
No.
we just used this. We just sculpted the sun. You know, I had a couple of 2020s made up with negative, and one we got this incredible muslin that we got dyed the exact match color, because we tried muslins and it was just a different tone compared to the tone of the warmth of the sand and the buildings. And so I got it dyed the same colour as the kind of buildings, and it just gave this lovely warmth. And then at night, and when Pompeii erupted, it was great because we could use that by bouncing a light into it in the distance, and it felt like a glow from the burning in the distance somewhere. So it kind of, and that was, so it's basically 220 by 20, and that's all we used during the day, really.
That's mad. Because you kind of think on some of these, you know, say for instance a Gladiator 2, whatever, shooting out in Malta as well. The idea of kind of going, I'm going to use the sun, and I'm going to use a bounce and a 20 by. You kind of think, no. Most of those jobs would want to have a little bit more. Control seems like the wrong word, but just maybe overthinking it. Yeah.
It's really easy to overthink lighting. You know, you can go down little wormholes and spiral into things where I go, but I mean, I used to work for DOP Simon Richards when I was a camera assistant, and it always felt to me, if the first AD went up to him and said, how long are you going to be lighting? He'd go, how long have I got? And it's true, you can just sit there and light and tweak and sculpt things. You know, it can do it forever. If you know you've got 20 minutes to do it, then you'll do it in 20 minutes. If you know you've got 2 minutes, you'll do it in 2 minutes. If you know you've got an hour. So it's
so you're giving me a little idea here. Just to always tell you, you've got 2 minutes. You'll get an iPhone out and just light with that.
Yeah, exactly. And
then so the drama was shot, and it feels like it was a month or two, or maybe a tab before. Having some time to then kind of digest what had happened, because when we were out in, I was very fortunate to be the AD on the documentary side. There was certain elements that had to be kind of almost exact match cuts, so that when they cut between the two, you know, the boys standing at the archway or the signs on the wall, all of that felt like it had to have been nailed before we got there, and it was so exact. There was moments that I kind of before we did the very first kind of match cut, I couldn't really understand the process of how it was going to edit together. And then seeing, because we were very fortunate to be at the premiere at the British Museum and saw the first two eps, so I'm looking forward to seeing the third one.
I believe it
really worked.
It's the best one.
Well, that's it. I'm gutted, but it kind of just.
Well, that was down to producer Hannah Cooney, who was there.
Shout out to the absolute legend, Hannah. I want to get her on as well.
She was like any questions, anything about Pompeii, anything about anything, she was there with the answers. And I didn't get a chance. I went to Recce to Pompeii like the week before we shot or something. It was something like that, wasn't it? We literally went out there for. But I wasn't able to go there before we shot Malta, whereas herself and Tom, the director, went and obviously extensively recce'd it, and she measured everything and everything. And then Natalie O'Connor, the art director who built the sets, these incredible sets in Malta, nailed it to a T. She got it like she's the one who got all the dimensions of the sets exactly right. And they had to be millimeter right, you know, and the research and detail that went, because if you're doing something historical, it's got to be spot on. You don't want anyone phoning in and going, oh, actually, that was the wrong fresco on that wall there, or that was, people are so, you're doing something like this. You've got every detail's got to be exact.
It's got to be factual.
It was. Yeah. Because there were so many times I'm like, well, can't we just move that there, or can't we just in there? Like, no, that's how it was. You can't change it. I'm like,
coming from commercials where we're like, well, the lamp wasn't there. Don't worry, just put a lamp in. It's fine. No one cares.
It's like we're shooting it that way in the morning. Well, it'd be good if we could point this way so a bit more backlit. And they're like, no, this is where it was. It's like you can't move anything. Amazing. But Pompeii was quite an experience.
Yes.
Wasn't it? I mean, we had that lovely going back to the iPhone stuff with Tom Hiddleston. That was that lovely moment that we all had as like you, me, Tom, the director, Mitch, my camera assistant, and the sound guy, and Tom Hiddleston wandering around Pompeii at night, just with a camera and just shooting that scene, and just with music blaring, to get emotive music blaring to get us in the mood, and we got lost.
Yes,
and
we finally found our way back, but
anyway, and then we got back, and then I remember sort of saying, everyone's sort of going, "Wow, that was a pretty special moment."
So I guess for the listeners, if you haven't been to Pompeii, there are kind of very certain hours that you're allowed in, and a certain time that you have to vacate if you're going as a tourist. But because we were there for National Geographic and shooting, we had moments where we were an hour or two before the punters turned up, and then some time in the dark where then there's no one there, and all of a sudden, Pompeii, when it's full of people, feels, and again, tourist attraction feels like the wrong word, but it's so busy, it's so full. But actually, those moments where it was just the crew and the cast, there was this, it just felt like a totally different place to when it's full of people. And that moment that you said, we were kind of running around Pompeii at night, trying to, in essence, find the lead actor who was in, in the drama section running around. You kind of think there is no one on this planet ever that has had or will ever have that experience again. And that is part of the love of why I've loved film, because and TV and making things, because and also that there's in one of the scenes there's a hand drawing on the wall that was found, and we could only have 3 of us in there. It was still being excavated, so the rest of the public are going in this walkway above it, and we're just in there, and you just see this little hand drawing of a 7-year-old, and you go,
little kids,
2,000 years ago there was kids drawing on wall, like it's exactly the same conversation that we have now as parents. Like, what are you drawing on a wall for? It's like, that hasn't changed. We haven't changed in 2,000 years.
Yeah.
It's just such a magical moment.
Special access. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, that is a nice little bonus in industry, is that you do get to go to some pretty amazing places, whether it's a bread factory in Macclesfield or whether it's just someone's house in southeast London. You get to see behind, or behind sort of the curtain in some respect, of so many places. You think, wow, I've been to some incredible places, even just other people's houses. But also been to just around the world, and just places that the public have never been, and so that's a nice little bonus of our job, I think.
Because you must have travelled the world now, surely. You shot in most continents?
Yeah, I haven't shot in Antarctica.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Nearly got. I got an interview for a job going to the South Pole, but I didn't get it, unfortunately. But that was a Tom Barbor-Might as well. But sadly didn't get that. But that would have been amazing. But I shot a lot of places, which I love. I love travelling with work.
I think that is one of the, most people that are friends of mine, their commute into work is the same. It's the same office. It's the same journey. It's the same people. And I think part of why I love what I do is that one week I'll be with you, carrying gear up Mount Vesuvius where there's no toilets, and having to schedule in toilet breaks because people have to walk down a mountain, to then being in in Black Island or whatever, shooting a food shoot with, it's just, there's so much variation in what we do. That's part of the addiction, I think.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, it's yeah, yeah, it's really good. It's a good. Definitely wouldn't be anything else. I mean, there's nothing else I want to do really
No.
than this. You know, I can't think of a better job. If I sit scratch my head and go, what job would I really want to do if I wasn't doing this? And there is nothing I'd rather do.
No.
Cool.
No,
Definitely
just
wouldn't be a
having
first
a
AD.
deep squat. I mean, I think you could do it. I don't, you're just telling people what to do, but you wouldn't be able to point a camera at people. Which
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
skeptical.
I was very impressed. We were out in the Bay of Naples, and you're what, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5"?
6'3", 6'3", yeah.
Yeah, a tall fella. And we're on that boat out in the Bay of Naples, and you've got a decent sized camera on an easy rig, and you just hit this deep squat, and you stayed there for like 5 minutes. I'm like, this dude, you couldn't have done anything else in this world. You were built for deep squatting on a boat in the Bay of Naples.
It's quite annoying being 6'3" normally, because I do normally have to, every time I film someone, have to squat because most people are smaller than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I spend most of my time squatting, and I'm not exactly the fittest person. It's not like I've got really good core strength. It's just, yeah,
Yeah, but that helps.
but,
Maybe it's
yeah.
just like the jelly effect. You can just bend down into wherever you want.
I do look at when people take photographs of me operating camera. I do look at them and sort of cringe because I'm always in sort of like some weird kind of knock-kneed kind of sort of contorted kind of a position. It's quite funny.
And then
Yeah.
kind of thinking about, because there was a snippet that you put up online the other day of you as like a 17-year-old, and you're there and you got your leather jacket on and you're behind a camera. That kind of younger self, looking back now, if you were to kind of go, and you've said you wouldn't do anything else, but looking back and you go, fucking hell, I've done I became what I wanted to become. What's next? What's next? What, is it carry on doing what you're doing? Is it, do you want to do a more features? Is it docos? Have you got this nice little niche now that you're just happy in and moving forward?
It's a good question. I don't really just go with it. I don't really. I actually strangely do love doing commercials still. There's something about it. You're trying to tell a story. I mean, it's different because commercials are changing so much but you're trying to tell a story essentially in 30 seconds, and so there's generally a lot of cuts. You're getting a lot of shots, and it is a challenge, and it's a creative challenge. And I just hope that the creativity doesn't really get sapped out of commercials, because I think it's one of the best places, for motion picture creativity has been historically, and I hope it sort of stays like that. It's kind of feel like it's getting a bit lost, but things comes and swings around. But I do love doing commercials, but also doing the Pompeii thing was the best job I've done, hands down, best job I've done so far.
Yeah.
And doing more long form work, I'd love to do as well. So I do, I'd deal well to do one long form job a year and then commercials in between. But
lovely,
never works like that really. So,
no. But this,
we'll see.
you look at where the kind of the battle for eyeballs, and there's articles that have come out recently that the Netflix of this world, and everyone's looking for more content, for more drama, for more things. That world of documentaries, if something like Pompeii Out of Time spawns a kind of new genre, it's kind of like it feels like a new frontier for, I don't know, big words, but it kind of feels like it's got so much ahead of it, because every documentary that has probably ever been made about anything that's ever happened can be remade again, but in this new style.
Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of documentaries are so formulaic and so just, the stuff you see on Netflix is loads of it is just, they're all the same. They're all the same kind of thing, and that's what made Pompeii. It was so different. The way everything about it was so different. So yeah, when it does start and you sort of spawn a whole new way of doing it, maybe. I mean, and obviously I'd love to be part of that, but you can never tell the future. That's the annoying thing with this industry. But well, any industry,
but it's a totally like and this is not to blow smoke, but with your background and your ability to be able to shoot a lovely drama and shoot a lovely documentary, there aren't many DPs that are as experienced being able to do both at such a high end. You know, some people are just doco and they have a system, they have a formula. Some people are just drama or features. And, you know, if there'd be some DPs that would have got on the drama and they're like, I need 3 trucks worth of gear. And they've gone, look, you can have a bounce that you've dyed, you know, the same color as the walls. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? I can't do my job. Whereas your attitude is, right, what do I have around me? And it was like, you know, we're running around Pompeii and there was like an iPhone torch and this tiny little LED ball. No one can really see. I mean, I don't even know how you were being able to manage. So I just just the moment. So for anyone that hasn't been in Pompeii, there's like a gully in between the buildings. So you have the buildings, you've got like a sidewalk, and then in between the two buildings, there's like a raised pavement. But in between the pavements, there's like these massive boulders. So obviously people could step across. So we're running around Pompeii. It's pitch black. We've got this music blaring. I'm kind of holding on to you. And we're coming up to these things. I'm like, stay right, stay left, stay left. And you're just as calm as a cucumber, just swimming the seas of Pompeii, carrying this camera for what felt like, we had 20, 30 minutes and just shot continuously. It's like, there aren't many DPs that would be able to go from sitting on a dolly on a drama to running around Pompeii with an AD shouting to them which lane of a gully they needed to be in so they didn't smash into a brick wall.
And poor Mitch Collins, my focus puller, walked into one of them when he was pulling focus and went flat on his face. Smashed his remote focus. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that's the thing it is doing drama and what we shot in Malta and what we shot in Pompeii are two completely different kettle of fish. You know, we're such limited crew in Pompeii, as you know, everyone was helping out. You know, we had 2 cameras because we're shooting a lot of interviews, so cross shooting. So we essentially had like 1.5 camera crew, but we had probably 10 of us, I think, total. No lighting. And it's very different worlds. And actually, like you say, to get someone who can do both and happy to do both and not want to make the smaller thing bigger or make the bigger thing even bigger. I spoke to my gaffer actually as well, Nico Kalamarakis, who was out with me in Pompeii, and we talked to each other and we were like saying, if this was a big budget, what would we have done differently? And it's like, I mean, we probably would have got bigger lights and gone bigger on the scale, and actually, would it have been any better? No. So it's quite good sort of talking to him and thinking like, literally going, what would have changed? And actually, it would have slowed things down. We would need bigger trucks, you know, more crew. Everything just becomes slower then, and it couldn't. We were doing in Malta. We're doing a 4-week schedule. At minimum, we were 4 weeks. We were shooting in 3 weeks, and it was just relentless. So you had
that Herculaneum, I think we did like 17 pages. Like, and obviously not being a drama person, someone came up to me and they're like, "Oh my god, we shot 17 pages," and I was like, it didn't really mean anything to me. It was just like, we got it done. You know, we got the day done.
We got the day done.
However many pages it was, it doesn't. It's kind of by the by. It was, and as you said, access wise, being able to be in those artifact rooms where no one apart from those people that work with them can see them, it's amazing. But
there's a scene where Tom Hiddleston is looking at a necklace. This is in Pompeii, looking at this necklace in this sort of behind the scenes kind of a room where only people that work in Pompeii are. It's not open to the public, and so he filmed a scene of him looking at his necklace, and then afterwards the guy goes, "Do you see something else?" And he pulls out this sort of bangle bracelet, you know, sort of goes up here, like that thick, round thing with a big thing, solid gold. And I didn't get to touch it. Tom Hiddleston was holding it. It's like, Jesus, the weight of it must have been insane. And you think, God, in Roman times, to mine that much gold, to make that alone, you think, day. I mean,
I just went and
that must
took
be.
it. I just went and took it.
Probably, yeah. Just get from somewhere, yeah. But yeah, you do get to see some special things.
Yeah. Well, look, dude, we're getting close to that kind of 45 minute mark.
Right.
And it always feels like there's never enough time. And
Yeah.
we could just kind of talk forever.
Yeah,
But I've got to
totally,
be
100%.
mindful of it's an episode. So,
Do part two next year.
yeah, part two, whatever,
Yeah.
Pompeii, bring it back, the return of.
Yeah.
I always, I mean, we kind of dug into your journey a bit, but listening to your story, it's very clear that the journey that you took, you've been very open to just seeing what comes and being very relaxed about the outcome and another side of it is that you took whatever opportunity that you could, going out to a film in a country that you shouldn't have been and sleeping on the floor. That ability to just go, I back myself, it's an opportunity and I'm going to do whatever it takes. If you were now looking at that, I don't know what you were 17 or when you were in that
17,
snap in the newspaper, if you were now sitting opposite that Jim, what advice would you have for that dude?
I mean, I'll probably do everything the same. Would I be more? I'd like to say try and be more ambitious, because you see people who are, and they do tend to go through the ranks quick or sort of. But I don't know if I would, because I've sort of becoming sort of very experienced at each job level really helped me in my understanding of what everyone does around me. So I don't know what advice I'd give a younger me. Just enjoy it, enjoy the journey, because that's the main thing, is that you're doing something you love. Enjoy every day of it, and I really do. I love going to work. It's really good fun, So I'd say that's the main thing, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that just goes to show and just sums up everything that you said, which is, look, if you had been quote unquote more ambitious, like you're making massive things. So you're kind of like, even the more ambitious, it's like, what would that have done? Maybe, as you said, you would have become a DP quicker. But learning how to focus ball, being able to communicate to your team because they've seen you do it and they know that you've done it. So if you ask for something, it's not just coming out of nowhere; it's from experience. And that's it's a really nice little,
And it's just having fun on the journey, really, as well, is really important. I like to sort of have fun at work, and try and stay professional, but still have, it's got to be an enjoyable set. You've got to sort of have a bit of fun and banter and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many sets that you walk on that you can feel the tension. You can feel like, and no one works better when they feel like they're under pressure, when they feel like they can't be themselves, Yeah,
it's interesting. A good friend of mine who does a lot of films, he's a camera operator. He said to me, because he wants to do more commercials. He said films are just so serious now. And he said it used to be called a film game. Now it's a film industry. I thought that's quite an interesting kind of analogy.
Yeah, the business. Yeah, well, it's as you said, as soon as things become about the money, and it's about how quickly, how many days can we shave off a schedule to get the same amount of stuff done in a slightly longer day? You're working at an intense pace. Whereas when you started, what was it, 8-10 hour days?
Yeah. It was 8 originally, and then
you could have a life,
but it's
after rap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully, creativity comes back a little on commercial. I feel like it's lost its way a bit, and I think AI is going to play a big part. And I think you have to embrace that and make it work with you. Work with it. At the end of the day, I'm trying to do as much research into AI now, in the sense of, you're going to be shooting stuff and AI might be lighting it, and you've got that you need to get their information from somewhere. And so I think, like, you have DOPs who work on Toy Story and Pixar films as a consultant, is that you will be a consultant DOP working with AI, maybe. I mean, I don't know for the future, but I think I'm looking into every kind of, I know it's happening in the fashion industry, when they do AI and avatars and stuff. Is that how they, and or when they have people in AI, they're going to be wearing clothes, but what are those clothes going to be based on? You get fashion designers are getting involved in that as well.
Well, I think there's a lot of fear at the moment around AI, but I'm in your camp, which is how can we use it as a tool to better have a better experience with it and help us. I mean, the Ben Affleck, he created this thing called Interpositive that Netflix have just bought, and it learns from your rushes. So you film it,
right,
and then you can learn from your rushes. And actually, if you go, like say for example, you were saying about looking here because the sun would have been better. There would be then the possibility of going, right, well, I had to shoot this way because that's how I had to shoot it, and the sun's in the wrong place. How can I move the sun round?
Yeah.
There's those kind of things, but you have to have shot it first to then help.
Well, I did a job earlier this year, and big pharmaceutical job, and there's things we can do, like there's a shot of a woman in her bedroom on her bed, and wanted to direct some feeling of the time passing. So we wanted the shadows from the window moving across the wall, and the clock kind of going fast, kind of classic sort of thing. And if you wanted a big moving light on a dolly or a crane or something, it's quite a big event, but quite a big thing to do. And it's quite a low budget job. And so we shot the shot, and then in AI they relit it and did the light moving across the bedroom, and it looked great. And then we shot in some cancer lab in Belgium, and it was really like you had to proper scrub up. It was like a serious lab. And again, we wanted a shot of all the lights going on in there, all the floor lights going on, and we couldn't do that, obviously. So we shot it, and then in AI they did all the lights going on, and so in little things like that, and it looks great. You wouldn't know any different, and I think it's so it has got its uses for when you're stuck, and
Well, the phrase "we'll fix it in post" would just be like AI will sort it out.
Well, this is the worry is that post. I mean, they are going under. That's the sad thing is, but then how can post have got to embrace it? And I think the whole thing is not fighting it, is embracing it. Basically, same with any technology that comes out digital. Even film cameras have evolved in sort of, with new electronic shutters and things like that. And there's always, you just got to embrace the change rather than try and fight it always.
Yeah, amazing. What a lovely way to end the episode, my friend. Well, look, I'm going to give you the film god round of applause. You absolute legend.
Cheers.
And then the last thing that we always like to just give the guests is just a little moment to let everyone know where they can find you, social media, all of that stuff. And if there's any projects that you want to give a shout out to, this is your time, my friend.
What am I on social media? I'm on Instagram, which is Jim Jolly, JimJolli. And that's about it, really. What else?
Go with Pompeii.
Shout out to Disco Garcia for
film gods.
Top man. Oh yeah, and Pompeii. Yeah, Pompeii Out of Time. 23rd of July 2026 is when it starts airing on Disney Plus. So go and see it. I'd really love to know people's opinion, because obviously I'm quite kind of blinded by, you can't really judge your own work kind of thing. So it's really interesting to see what other people think.
I know I've just done the whole end of the app, but actually that's a really interesting point that maybe we just spend a couple of minutes. You kind of go, that, and it goes back to the whole, Simon Richards, how long have I got? You can tweak. When you sit down and you watch something of that and like, look, I make commercials. I've been very fortunate that I've made some other, I was very fortunate to get on the Grand Tour and things that, and a couple of days on Clarkson's Farm. So it's like things that actually people want to watch instead of just like skip ad. When you're sitting there in the big theatre, in the screening room, at the premieres, are you able to just go, I'm not even going to think about it? Do you go, fuck, I wish I should have pulled, could have panned right a little bit, should have been a different lens? How do you just sit with that?
Yeah, I kind of do exactly what you just said. I wish I panned right a bit. I wish I'd do that. I first time I sort of watched it was a sort of bit cringy, kind of, oh God. But then you hear of actors going, "Oh, I never watch anything I'm in." I tend to watch something I've done over and over again because I like to find all the things I would have done differently, and
Nice.
and try and learn from the experience. So it's not me just being sort of sycophantic and wanting to watch my own stuff. It's actually just trying to learn from it. So yeah, and everything you do, you kind of walk away going, "I wish I'd done that, or I could have done this, or maybe it's better if I did that." But I think that's really healthy. I think it's really healthy to kind of question yourself, and so yeah,
I do it with my runners. It's like end of the day, I say, right, 3 things that you've learned. They call it active learning, so that if you then can go, right, what did I do right, what did I do wrong, or what could I have done better? The next day, it's kind of in there, it's slightly embedded in the brain, so then it's like part of the subconscious that you then just you will swing at that different lens, you will pan right at that moment, because that moment won't be an exact replica, but it will just it's in there, it's muscle memory.
And also, I think it's, for me, I try and make a point of not being formulaic, always doing something different. So if I've done something, if I've lit something a certain way, and I end up at a point where I'm doing a similar scene, I would never light it the same way. I'd always think, well, I've done that, so what am I going to do different? I always try and push myself to do something different. And I think that's for me, that's an important thing to do, rather than just sort of being stuck in doing the same thing.
That's quite a brave attitude to take, because most people go, I found a formula that works. I know it works. I'm going to stick with it.
It's boring, isn't it? Then you're doing the same things you do. Yeah. And commercials are good because you can have a bit of a play,
In what respect?
Well, you can just have you can try new things, try new, just went straight past.
Yeah, I just camera right to left. It wasn't sharp. Let's go again. Reset and action.
You can try new things. You've got time to play a little bit, just exactly that, just having the time and the ability just to keep trying new things, because you would shoot the same scenes over and over again on different adverts, because so many jobs you'd end up doing the same shot in a hallway of a Victorian house with someone coming in the front door, there's loads of kind of shots that you just repeat over and over again. So it's thinking, okay, how can I make this different?
I like that. Oh, well, look, I know we've already done the kind of round of applause and the clap, but I'm going to give it again. And dude, thank you so much for kind of coming on.
My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to part 2 this time next year, when we've been all around the world filming,
great,
doco-dramas or whatever the tagline phrase that we're going to call them are. Just again, appreciate you for coming on. For everyone that's watching on YouTube, look at his beautiful background, and he's just lit that with an iPhone, and he's using the bounce.
Not even an iPhone, just a FaceTime camera, whatever it's called.
You're going to pan around, there's a whole crew that have just got 20 bites behind
no
you.
hair and makeup done, I need it. I'm a bit shiny.
But thank you for coming on, brother.
Nice.
Appreciate your time. And ladies and gents, until we meet again, that is a wrap. So that was a chat with the king or queen in the game. I'll give it a shout at the end so you all know the name. It's the Film Gods Podcast. The what? The Film God Podcast.